Hello, delighted to see you this morning or this afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you're doing this. I'm going to once again focus on a couple of the mindfulness trainings of Thich Nhat Hanh in his book, Interbeing. And these are the 8th and 9th mindfulness trainings, and they're both about communication and words. So the 8th mindfulness training is aware that lack of communication always brings separation and suffering. We are committed to training ourselves in the practice of compassionate listening, and loving speech. We will learn to listen deeply without judging or reacting, and refrain from uttering words that can create discord or cause the community to break. We will make every effort to keep communications open and to reconcile and resolve all conflicts, however small. So this is the 8th mindfulness training. And what he's suggesting is that for the next week, we actually try and practice this consciously. And the 9th mindfulness training is related. Aware that words can create suffering or happiness, we are committed to learning to speak truthfully and constructively, using only words that inspire hope and confidence. We are determined not to say untruthful things for the sake of personal interest or to impress people, not to utter words that might cause division or hatred. We will not spread news that we do not know to be certain, nor criticize or condemn things of which we are not sure. We will do our best to speak out about situations of injustice, even when doing so may threaten our safety. So this is the 9th mindfulness training of the Order of Interbeing. Anyway, these are virtuous and challenging things to look up to try and practice over the next week or so. So I think we'll just stand. Stand on our mat, and we'll do a little shaking at the very beginning, just to give us our adrenal system some flow. And I went to see an Elvis impersonator last week and danced a lot. I felt really good. And the impersonator wasn't the greatest, but the dancing was a lot of fun. And so it's good to have all kinds of cross training in your yoga practice. Dancing should be one of them. All right. So I'm just going to stand and lift my arms up, stretching, and then stretch one side and then the other, and one side and the other, one side and the other. And while I'm doing this, I'm breathing. I'm just going to I'm going to imagine my torso is a glass, and I'm filling it up with water. So I'm filling it up at the bottom, and then my chest, and then my upper chest, and then I'm letting it go. I'm drinking it, so I'm going from the top to the bottom. I'm exhaling top to bottom, and I'm inhaling bottom to top, and then I'm exhaling top to bottom. We'll just do this a couple more times. Bottom to top, filling up, and then exhaling. And one more time, inhale, and then exhale. Okay. So Habiba's here. Lovely to see you, Habiba. All right. Let's stretch our fingers out and just make fists and then flick them out. We're going to rotate our wrists here. Good. Now we're going to stand on our toes, balance, and then we're just going to lower down. And we're going to inhale, and then lowering down, exhaling. Once again, inhale, and then lowering down. Inhale, and then lowering down. Good. We're going to try and do Malasana right now, which is a squat. It's a bit early in the morning, but we'll see how we go. And we'll just lower ourselves down. You can lift your heels up if you like, or if you can manage it, keep them to the ground. And some mornings I'm better at this than others. But and then I'm just going to try and keep my torso rising up. And I'm just going to rest here for a few moments. If it's unbearable, you can come out of it, of course. You can sit on blocks, or you can avoid it altogether. But as a friend reminded me, I think in like 2/3 of the world's population squats to go to the bathroom. And I think that they have lower rates of colon cancer. So now this may be, I haven't actually researched this myself. So I should do that. But I took a class yesterday and that was what the teacher said. And that sort of makes sense. Okay, now I'm just going to put my hands down and I'm going to straighten my knees and just do a forward fold here for a minute, just to give my legs a break. I'm going, and what would you feel like if you just hooked your hands and your elbows and suspended yourself here, just to stretch yourself out a bit this morning? And if you like, you can put your hands on the ground. You can put your hands under your feet if that's something that you can do. And you can bend one knee and then straighten the other and just pedal a little bit. We're just trying to get our muscles warmed up here. Good. Now, I think we'll come down for a minute and do some work with our feet. Not sure. These are a few yin practices. So we're just on our knees here, and I have my feet underneath my heels, and I'm just sitting back here on my feet. Now, this is a yin practice, a yin yoga practice, and I was reminded by my teacher that yin is about resilience. It's not about rest. Restorative yoga is about rest. Yin yoga is about resilience. So it's about basically finding your edge and not torturing yourself at all, but working with the edge of your ability in yoga. So for instance, my toes are very stiff. So this is quite uncomfortable for me, but I do know that they need to be stretched out. And so I'm just going to sit here for a few moments. And she recommended 2 minutes. So I think about 30 seconds have gone by. And we'll just stay for another 1.5 minutes. And we're just going to rest here in a state of moderate discomfort. In one of the books I read in my teacher training was this book, which I really recommend. He's a very good yoga teacher, TKV Desikachar, who is actually the son of a very famous yoga swami, and he's a very good teacher. And in this book, he has philosophy and also asanas, and he has principles of asana practice. For instance, beginning from where you are, joining breath to movement. Breath is the intelligence of the body. And he talks at one point about how yoga is not about so much about stretching your muscles as it is about opening your heart. And that is really the goal of yoga, is to open your heart. Okay, I'm not sure if it's absolutely 2 minutes, but it's long enough for me. And I'm just going to come down and stretch my feet out in front of me and wiggle my toes, which are now in need of some wiggling here. And you can also just move your legs back and forth if they're uncomfortable at all. Now, another interesting practice I had in a Yin Yoga class I took with my teacher, Pat Harada Linfoot, is sitting like this. Now you can put things underneath here. You can sit on a block or on a blanket to move your hips forward. And what she suggests, now she's the woman who taught piano toes. I think I used to do this in class, where you learn to lift your toes up one by one and put them down. And if you practice, actually, it becomes much easier. But this is just sitting like this with your feet together and then weaving your toes together so that your baby toes are interwoven and all of your other toes are woven together. And it's tricky. It is not impossible. So there. So we've got our toes woven together, and we're just going to sit here for 2 minutes, and I will keep track of that here. And we're just breathing here, inhaling and exhaling, and feeling our spine, axial elongation of our spine, and the from right down at the sacrum all the way up to the top of your neck bone, and then imagine that your skull is actually sitting, in a position that allows for that elongation to move all the way through your head, right up to the crown chakra at the top of your head. And you might want to bring your feet out further if it's more comfortable. But the point here is just to sit for about 2 minutes and feel the work that happens when you just allow your body to be in the moment. Okay, now we'll just do the same. We'll just shake our legs out a bit. I'm just going to mute everyone here, which I forgot to do. And then we're going to go back into that position and put your toes if you have your right big toe on top, this time you'll put your left big toe on top. So we'll interweave our toes again. There. And once again, ourselves sitting up. And here we can work our groins a little bit, moving our legs closer to the ground if we can. Or if this is uncomfortable, do put some blocks or some bolsters or blankets or towels underneath your legs. There's a mantra you can say. You can say, so hum. And you can say it inside, just so hum. As you're breathing. Inhaling, so hum. And now we're just going to, once again, unhook our little beautiful toes. We can wiggle our toes. We can stretch our legs out and pump them back and forth. Rotate our ankles, whatever you need to let them go. And we're going to do a couple more long holds of these postures. We're just going to, I'm going to do Dandasana. So I'm trying to keep my back straight. Once again, you can very easily put something where I've got a little blanket underneath your hips if you need it, and you can put more than that on, and it just helps tilt you forward a bit, so you have a little more ability to maintain a straight back. Your back should be a little concave here in your lower back, so it's a kind of neutral spine, and we're just pressing equally into our heels, into our toe pads, so our feet are not skewed out one way or another. And we have our hands up, and we can press our hands, our fingers are facing forward, press our hands into the ground, and it sort of allows us to lift ourselves up a little bit. And we're just going to be here for 2 minutes. And once again, you can focus on a mantra. It might help you concentrate. And so hum, so hum. And you can repeat that to yourself internally, or you can speak it out loud. Okay, we're going to just come out of that now. We'll just, I'm just shaking my legs and bending my knees and extending them just to, and shaking my shoulders out. Good. All right. Thank you. So that is our yoga, Yin Yoga introduction to our class. And I'm going to come up to the very top, and we're going to do just a few sun salutations to get a little bit of heat in our bodies. And our breath should be regulated and coordinated with our movements. So we're at the front of our mat. Our toes should be lovely and wiggly here and spread out on our mat. We're feeling the earth beneath us, very grounded. We've been on the ground grounding ourselves for a few minutes. And we're going to open our arms up, look up, and then forward fold, exhaling. And then inhale, halfway lift, and then forward fold, exhaling. Inhale, right leg back, knee to the ground. Inhale, look up, exhale, plank, and then chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Then inhaling into an upward dog or cobra. We're just going to stay here for a moment. We're pressing our hands into the ground, and we're developing a little strength here in our arms. It should be just below our shoulders. We shouldn't feel any pain in our lower back. We're just inhaling and exhaling. And now I'm going to turn my feet under, my toes under, and stretch up into downward dog. And we're going to have 5 breaths here. Now, while you're here, you can walk your feet out. This gives your toes a little bit more movement. And you can, the object of this is really pressing back on your thighs, rotating your upper arms, externally rotating them. Your shoulders have moved down your shoulder blades. Your shoulder blades have moved down your back. And you are, it's an odd thing, you're kind of rotating the upper arms out while you're rotating the lower arms in, because you want to plant your hands so that all of the finger pads are on the ground. So it's an odd sensation to imagine that you can rotate your upper arms out while you're rotating your lower arms in. and planting your hands. So we're just here breathing and feeling the strength of this posture. It's a very demanding posture, even though we sometimes use it as a restful posture. It's actually quite a demanding posture. And we're pressing back on our thighs so that as we press back, we can feel our sit bones really rise up here. And now we're going to lift our right leg up, point our foot, and then bend our knee and drop our foot over towards our buttock. And just feel that our arms are once again balanced in the pressure of our hands on the floor, but our legs are stacking, our hips are stacking one on top of the other. And we're going to just stretch our leg up, point our foot, then we're going to flex our foot and push into the heel here, then point our foot, and then flex our foot and push into the heel, and then we're going to bend our knee and bring it forward and touch it to the opposite elbow, and then stretch it back and up. Bring it forward, touch it to the same elbow, and bring it back. And then the opposite elbow, and bring it back. And then the elbow on the same side, and bring it back. And then we're bending our knee, bringing it to the front of the mat between our legs, and dropping the other knee down, lifting our arms up, looking up, inhaling, planting our hands outside of our front foot, bring our back foot up, exhale into a beautiful and restful forward bend. And here you can hook your arms inside your elbows. You can put your hands underneath your feet. You can hold on to blocks if you can't get down very far, that's no problem. It's no competition. Or you can hold on to the ankles and use your elbows to exert some pressure and pull yourself down. Now here I'm just imagining that the energy is moving up the back of my legs from my ankles to my hip bones. And I do this, I have this sensation because I don't want to overstrain the tendons at the top of the hamstrings that hook into your hip bones. And so we're just using gravity to give us a bit of an assist here. And we're resting here, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And now we're going to come all the way up. Inhaling, looking up. Arms up, and then hands at the side. And we can rotate our shoulders around and back and forth. Good. Okay, we're going to do a few more. We'll do another one on the left side this time. Inhale, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the ground. Inhale, knee down. Arms up, look up. Exhale, plank pose. And then lower down. And then into a back bend of your choice. And then back into your downward dog. And we're pressing into the heels here. Inhaling and exhaling. Lifting our left leg up. And then bringing that knee forward to the opposite elbow. And then back, pointing up. bringing it into the same side elbow, pointing up. Inhaling, bringing it in, and exhaling, extending it back. Inhale, bringing it in, and exhale, bringing it back. And this time, we're going to lower our heel and drop our foot to our buttock and stack our hips one on top of the other while trying to maintain our shoulders in a balanced position in the front. So this is a twist, actually. And we're inhaling and exhaling, pressing into our hands, grounding our foot, pushing back on our thigh, our thigh of the foot that's on the ground. And now we're going to straighten that leg and bring it forward between our hands. And then the opposite foot forward. We're just here in a forward bend for a moment, inhaling and exhaling. And now we're inhaling up and looking up. And then dropping our arms down. And I'm rotating my shoulders, which get a little cramped. Good. Okay, so we're going to do a few standing postures now. And in it, we're going to try and maintain that sense of our breathing so that our breathing is integrated into our movement. And we're just going to open our arms up to the side and bring our legs out 3 or 4 feet, rotate our right foot to the front of our mat, and we're going to do a Trikonasana or triangle pose. And the important part about this is to move forward. And as we're moving forward, we're also moving up. We're keeping this upright balance, upright direction. And we drop our hand down to where it's comfortable. And then we'll look up. So we're feeling the extension between our ribs and our hips on both sides, so that we are definitely shifting our hips towards the back. And then we're looking up and we're breathing here, inhaling. And rotating our chest towards the sky. And just lifting up, rotating our hands the other way. And I'm putting my hand in my hip crease and just tipping my hips that way, extending this arm out, 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 and up, and then dropping it down. And extending the other arm up. And looking up. And once again, feeling the extension on both sides of our torso. And now we're rotating up again. And we'll turn our feet the other way and bend our front leg so that we are in Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. And we're feeling our upper body moving up and our lower body sinking down. The knee needs to move back and it should be at 90 degrees, this angle. And now we're extending out, 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 and up. And then we're going to drop our hand down. We can rest it on our thigh or drop it behind us, behind our foot. And we'll look up again. And I'm feeling myself both sinking down and moving up. The bottom part of my body can maybe open up and sink down a bit more. My back knee is straight. My front knee, 90 degrees. And I'm looking up at my hand. And my chest is opening to the ceiling, to the sky. And once again, I'm pushing up, coming up, and turning my feet in the other direction. And sinking down, down, down. Then imagining my torso moving up, up, up. My hands are moving out. So this multi-directional work of the body in these postures is a good mental exercise as well. Now I can sink down with my back leg, or I can make sure that my back knee is straight. And I'm extending out and up, and then dropping my arm down to my thigh, or you can bring it down behind you onto a block. And then I'm looking up and rotating my chest towards the sky, pressing my back, the back of my back foot into the ground. And I'm breathing here. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And now I'm pushing up again and bringing my feet pointing forward to the long side of the mat, my hands on my hips, and I'm going to fold forward into a wide-legged forward bend here. And you can stretch your hands out so that your back is straight and press into your feet. And the outer edges of your feet, you can lift your toes up and lift the inner arches up and really feel yourself opening here. You can be on blocks, of course, with your hands on blocks if this is too much. And we're just inhaling and exhaling and feeling the beautiful stretch of this pose. How our spine feels liberated. We can use this to really enhance our ability to stretch and feel the elongation of the spine, as well as the legs. Now I'm going to walk over to the right and hold on to my ankle and draw myself down towards the knee. And then I'm going to walk myself over to the left, hold on to my ankle, and use my elbows to draw myself down towards my leg. So I'm extending my torso long and also towards the leg. And I'm going to come back, and I am pressing into the ground with my hands and imagining that I could put the crown of my head on the ground. I don't think I can. Well, I can do that. And then this is actually the beginning of a tripod headstand, if you have it in you. But I am just going to push myself up, extend my arms long, wiggle my feet in a little bit, put my hands on the hip, and inhale my way to an upright position. And then I'm turning my foot to the right and turning the back. I'm going to bring my back foot in. My front foot is facing the front of the mat. We're going to do pyramid. So whereas on the other two standing postures, we had our hips facing the long side of the mat. In this one, we're facing the front of the mat. And this is pyramid pose, a bit of a shorter stance. And we're going to pivot forward with our hips and just extend our back over our leg and feel we can have our straight back for a moment, and then we can just fall over our leg with a rounded back, pressing into the back foot, pressing into the front foot. The knees should be straight. And we're just going to relax here with a lot of strength in our legs. The upper torso and the head are just suspended over our legs. And from here, we can do a revolved triangle. In this case, my right leg is forward. I'm pressing down with my left hand right beside my right foot. And then I am revolving my body towards the back of the room. And we're looking up. Breathing here. And we're feeling that front hip moving back. You could put your hand in the hip crease of the front hip and move it back mechanically. That gives you the idea. And then extend your arm out again. And now we're going to rotate, once again, the standing position. And I'm going to rotate my shoulders a little bit and my arms. And then I'm going to do that the other way, just to keep everything lubricated and moving. All right, we're extending our left foot to the front of the mat, and our back foot is extended in. We're rotating our hips so that they're facing the short end of the mat. We're extending straight back over top of our front leg. And then at a certain point, we just round over it and allow it's very strong in the back, in the bottom, in the legs, pressing into the ground. You can lift your toes and your inner arches up and pressing into the ground and really feeling the upper body just flow over the lower body. You can put your hands on the ground to give you some support. And now if you have it in you, you can put your hand down. You could put a block here, or you can use the tip tops of your fingers and revolve your spine and your torso towards the back, and then lift your arm up. If you're a bit shaky here, that's okay. You're drawing the front hip back, extending the back leg straight, pressing into the heel of the back leg. And now we're just going to rotate up. And then drop our legs down. So I'm feeling very hot and a bit sweaty, so that's a good thing. I'm going to shake out my fingers and I'm going to shake out my feet, because they've been working hard and they need a lot of tender care. I think we'll just go down onto our bellies and work on some back bends here, as we have been doing some forward bends, and we'll just make our way to the mat on our bellies. And we'll just extend our hands out. We can press our fingers into the ground and lower one shoulder to the ground and look up underneath the other shoulder. And we can do the other. We have our shoulders lifted, but we're dropping one down to the ground and looking underneath the arm of the other. And then we're doing this several times, just to floss our shoulders a little bit in preparation for locust and bow. Okay, so we'll put our hands underneath our shoulders, and we're going to just press back. Our shoulders come back, and then our head, and we're pressing up, and we're coming down. Once again, we'll press we're doing a cobra here, pressing into the ground and coming back, and then going down. Now we're extending our arms long beside our torso. Our palms are up, and we're going to lift our shoulders up and then our head up. And then our arms are going to float beside our torso, and we're going to point our toes and lift our legs up and really feel an opening in the chest here. As we inhale deeply and exhale, inhaling and exhaling. And we're going to come down. And then we're going to do this one more time, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, and then come down. Now we're going to work towards bow. So we will lift our right foot up, bending at the knee. We'll grasp behind the right foot, and we'll press into our foot and just feel the right side body opening up. And we're going to bring that foot down to touch the buttock, to stretch it the other way. And then we'll do it one more time. Pressing that foot out, extending the arm, and then descending again. We'll do that on the left side. We're pressing into the foot, lifting our shoulder up, left shoulder up, and extending our arm out. And then pressing that foot into the butt, towards the buttock, to extend the muscles, to elongate the muscles of the front thigh. And then we're going to do that one more time. And down again. This time, we're going to take both our feet. Now, this is beyond you. You can just rest in this posture. You could do another lotus. You could go into child's position. And we're going to press our feet in and raise our torso up, our chest up. It's very open. We can breathe deeply. We're pressing our pelvis into the ground and our knees back, our feet back as we breathe here. And then we're going to come down. Good. Now, from here, I'm going to invite you to go into a tabletop, and we're going to work our way into pigeon here, just extending our right knee forward and then turning our lower leg onto an angle so that, and then extending our back leg back so that we have a very powerful pigeon position here. The pigeon that people do when they have really, really open everything is their leg out, their front leg out 90 degrees and their foot flexed. And since we're doing it with the front leg on the diagonal, we need to point our toes. And we can feel the opening in our chest here as we are in this upright pigeon. You can put your hands in Sphinx, your forearms on the ground. And once again, you still feel the collarbone moving forward and up. And then you can extend down if you like. All of these postures have different good effects. So one isn't necessarily better than the other. Just stay where you're comfortable. And we'll inhale and exhale here for a few moments. Not quite a minute. Now, would you come up and press into your hands so that we're once again open-chested, and inhale twice here and exhale. Inhale twice and exhale. And now we're just going to rock back onto our hip, onto our buttock, And we can bring the opposite leg forward and do the reverse side. So extending that back leg back, just wiggling it back, and keeping that front leg at an angle. So, and you can stay upright for a few breaths here. The hips should be fairly balanced here. And then we're coming down into a Sphinx. And then I'm just making a pillow with my hands and putting my forehead on my pillow. And I'm just breathing here. You shouldn't feel any pain or anything in your knees. So if you do, you should come up. Again, we're going to press back and do a little bit of a twist. So I'm just bringing my back leg around, and I have my front leg bent. In this case, it's my left leg, and my right leg over top. You can keep your bottom leg extended out if you like. And I'm going to, and then whatever knee lifted, you lift up your back leg and turn around. Here we are. And we'll turn once again the other way. I will just untwist my legs, bend my right leg. In this case, my left leg my left knee is up, and I am pressing into my back hand to keep myself straightened up. I'm moving up, stretching my arm up, feeling that beautiful elongation of the spine as I rotate around, and drop my arm down, using the upper knee and my elbow to offer me a little more traction in moving my torso around. And I'm pressing my foot into the ground and feeling my hip bones descending as my head ascends, so to speak. And now I'm coming around, and I'm just going to once again shake out my legs. Good. All right. So I think we'll just do a couple more postures, and then we will relax, and that will be it. So we'll move on to our back and do a bridge pose, which is a nice counterbalance to some of the earlier postures we've done. And the pigeon and bridge are often very good to do together, because they do complement each other. So I'm just I'm just tipping my pelvis up, and then I'm rotating, and then I'm just rolling down. So I'm tipping my pelvis up and lifting it, and then I'm rolling down. Tipping my pelvis up and lifting it. And now I'm going to clasp either the outer edges of my mat, or I'm going to clasp my hands and put the straight arms underneath my back and press into my arms, press into my feet, feel my knees moving to the opposite wall, and my thighs and my pelvis and my chest moving up. As I inhale into my whole chest area, and then I exhale, pressing into my feet, feeling my pelvis, my thighs, my chest moving up. Inhaling and exhaling, and then I'm rolling down. And we'll just rest here for a moment, and we will do a bridge one last time. So I'm pressing into my feet, pressing into I've got my arms underneath me, pressing into my upper arms, and pressing my thighs, pelvis, chest up. And then I'm rotating down. Good. And we can clasp our knees and rock and roll a little bit here. We can through to our feet and do a happy baby and move back and forth. Okay. Just stay in the happy baby. I'm trying to admit someone who got stuck out for some reason. There. Okay. So we're in happy baby on the ground. And we are just I'm just going to grab onto my toes or grab onto whatever you can and straighten my legs up and open them out a bit. And I'm going to close them up. So you might be holding onto your shins here and just allowing your legs to open up and then closing them. Good. And now I'm going to hook my, what happens if you hook your one leg over the other, bending both knees, and then you shift your, I'm going to shift my right knee is over top of my left, and I'm shifting my hips towards the right, and then I'm dropping my legs to the left. And I'm just feeling that beautiful twist here. And I'm looking towards the right. So your head is looking in the opposite direction, your knees, and you're twisting in the torso. And I'm just breathing here. I can use that arm that's extended that I'm looking at, and I can rotate it around with my shoulder on the ground. If your shoulder is painful, just lift your hand off the floor. But this is a very good stretching and lubrication. I feel it lubricates my shoulder quite nicely here. And I'm just breathing easily in this posture as we prepare for final relaxation. So now I have my arms outstretched, and I'm just going to move my legs, feet to the ground, my hip, I can feel my sacrum on the ground, and I'm going to wiggle my body just to feel that it's located in a central space. And then I'm going to lift my left leg up, hook it over my right, lift my hips up, and move them towards the left, drop my knees to the right, and feel once again that beautiful twist here. You can, if you want a bit more traction, put your hand gently on top of your thigh, that's where your knees are extended. And then you look to the opposite direction, and you can rotate your arms around here, back and forth. And once again, my arms are now just outstretched. And I'm going to rotate my knees back to vertical and just windshield wash my knees a little bit, back and forth. I'm going to lift my feet up, and I'm going to shake them, lift my arms up and shake them, rotate my wrists and my feet, point my toes, stretch my fingers out, and then make a fist, and make fists with your toes and your hands, and then stretch them out. Good. All right, I'm putting my feet down on the ground. And you can put your feet up the wall if you like. You can lay on your side, on your stomach. You can sit up, or you can just extend your legs out into Shavasana. And I'm just wiggling my hips and my legs just to relax them. And I sometimes feel myself sinking into the ground. I'm lifting my shoulders up so that my shoulder blades have moved down my back body, and my chest is open here. My hands are, the palms of my hands are facing up, and I'm feeling my head. I'm imagining I can relax the skin on my skull and the skin on my forehead and my ears and the skin around my ears and my jaw. I can feel my jaw, my mouth opening and my tongue falling into the lower part of my jaw. And I can feel the skin under my eyes and around my eyes, on my cheeks, relaxing, all of the tension fading away. I'm going to rotate my head from side to side, and then I'm just going to find that perfect middle spot for it to rest. And I feel my whole body sinking into the mat. Any stressful space you have, you can lift that body part up and let it fall. Or you can just rest here. I'm going to be quiet for several minutes and allow you to really explore silence and what it means to be silent and to just listen. And I'm going to invite you now to wiggle your toes and your hands and to feel the beauty of the practice. I'm reading once again from The Heart of Yoga, Developing Personal Practice by TKV Desikachar. And he writes, there are many definitions of yoga, and I've already mentioned some of them. Yoga as the movement from one point to another, higher one. Yoga as the bringing together, the unifying of two things. Yoga as action with undivided, uninterrupted attention. These definitions of yoga have one thing in common, the idea that something changes. This change must bring us to a point where we have never been before. That is to say, that which was impossible becomes possible. That which was unattainable becomes attainable. That which was invisible can be seen. One of the basic reasons many people take up yoga is to change something about themselves, to be able to think more clearly, to feel better, and to be able to act better today than they did yesterday in all areas of life. In these endeavors, yoga can be of great help, and it requires no prerequisites that must be fulfilled before we set out on this path. So on that optimistic note, I will invite you to move your body and come to a sitting position, or you can stay there and just rest. Thank you very much for finding your mat this morning. And I'm going to just say that the teacher in me honors the teacher in you, and the student in me honors the student in you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you next time.
Thank you, Janice.